Hey everyone. So one of the first things that I usually introduce someone to who is new to the Mace and is looking to start doing things like the 360 and the 10 to 2 is working on the pendulum first. It's going to be a vitally important step in your Mace training, particularly as you start getting into heavier weights, which I'll demonstrate here in a minute. But for the pendulum, what we're looking for is taking the Mace behind the head, allowing the forearms to relax down by the biceps. So we're not adding any additional lift here. Over time, that's going to put your triceps and elbow tendons there at risk. Keeping a good, strong core here, so I'm pulling the rib cage down, and letting the Mace rest as close to me as possible. And from there, what I want to do is, using my legs and my hips, I want to try and start getting a nice, smooth pendulum action here. My hands are merely just gripping the Mace, relaxed. I'm not trying to accelerate this further with my forearm muscles or anything, but I really want to just get to where, keeping my hips neutral so I'm not twisting my body. If I twist my body, you can see the Mace starts hitting me. It's because I take it off of the arc at that point here. So I want to try to get this nice, smooth action. This is something you should be able to do next to a wall. If you have a wall space for it, you should be able to do that pendulum without having to worry about hitting the wall. If you're twisting your hips around, then it's quite likely you're going to bump into that wall. So gradually getting higher and higher here. If our goal is to do a 10 to 2, I'm getting the Mace up here just almost about shoulder height, and I'm going to pull it down here. So it's a good way to break that exercise down into a smaller step. As you get interested in heavier weights, something I see a lot of people do is they'll pick up a really heavy Mace that they haven't swung before, perhaps, and they start out like this here. They're either holding it too high, maybe they know enough to hold it down here, but they start in this position, and then what happens is they kind of panic because they aren't quite sure if they can handle the weight. And so you'll see something like this. They're holding it like this, and that panic sets in right as it starts to fall, and then if they're successful, maybe they pull it through. But it can be a little scary until you know what to expect. This is where the pendulum becomes really, really helpful, because you can start, this is relatively simple to do, even if it's a weight that you can't pull over your shoulder just yet. Just by doing this, we're starting to build some of that strength to be able to do so. And then gradually, with the heavier weight now, it's safer and easier for me to start experimenting pulling this over the shoulder rather than starting from way up here and going, not sure if we can, not being sure if we can swing it through. So, as I go, this is a 20-pound Mace. I'm going to jump up here to a 30-pound Mace, okay? Super important. The first time I ever swung this thing, I held it like this, and I made that exact mistake. So now, anytime I'm working with an unfamiliar Mace or a heavier weight than I'm accustomed to, I first see if I can swing it as a pendulum here, and then I start pulling it through, if I'm able. And gradually, you can build up more and more reps with that weight as you go up. So yeah, just really focus on getting good at that pendulum, getting it nice and smooth. It's still getting you a workout. Even if you aren't able to pull it over your shoulder just yet, you're still working your core, your legs, and you're building up the strength in your tendons to be able to eventually pull that over into the full technique. I hope that's helpful, and shoot me a message if you have any questions.